Well, hello. I'm here as a reprieve, as a do-over, because I totally blew it about 90 minutes ago. I think it is this whole arena that we are in that is giving us a lot less confidence in everything we step into. And so, as a commitment I made to some dear friends last week about doing what I'm doing right now, I'm jumping back into this. And I thought I'd share with you just a tad bit about why I am even doing Facebook Lives. And I'm reminded that I used to engage with people in a way that lessened the noise, that kind of cut down the hysteria, that made people smile, that informed them, that took out the hype. And I still do that in every single interaction that I have. And from those of you who have been just my stalwarts in the last few minutes and the last days and the last weeks, and that includes my number 3 son, Oliver. Thank you so much for all of your encouragement. For friends who are in Las Vegas or Chicago or California who are encouraging me, to fellow life coaches and therapists and colleagues, oh my goodness, and my husband who's working upstairs somewhere right about now. Thank you for boosting and encouraging me to speak out loud still, and I am. So I'm here because I want to remind you that you're not alone. And you hear that phrase a lot from people. You've especially heard it from my colleague Faith Donaldson and myself on our podcast, More to Life with Faith and Lois. That's something we say on a regular basis because that's what we want you to know. And I work with people who are in transition, and what bigger transition could we be facing than the one that we are in right now? And every single one of us is in transition. Those of us who work with people and those of us who are being worked on and those of us who are colleagues, we're all facing a life that is so, so different. So if you're among the millions of people who have lost your job as a result of what's going on with this coronavirus pandemic, please check out a post that I wrote today. It's on Medium, but it's also on my Facebook page, and you can read about the many opportunities. But I realize that's not what I'm here for, or why I want to share with you. I'd like to ask you, as you're heading toward the weekend, how can you refuel and recharge? For me, the biggest thing I can do is breathe. Because when I get nervous and when I get afraid and when I feel the pressure around me, I talk really fast and I can't seem to catch my breath. And that happened last night. I remember getting ready for bed and I was so tight, I could hardly breathe. Some things had come up to the surface for me and I had so much fear. And the only thing that will stop me is when I physically stop. And whether it's holding my hands or closing my eyes or sitting or getting grounded, that's the only place that I know that I can get to a place of breathing. And when I take those deep breaths, I see, I hear, I observe a lot more clearly. How else can we recharge this weekend? I encourage you to play games. Last night I had the opportunity to play Banana Scrabble. And for anyone who knows our household, we have a number of Banana Scrabble sets because my mother used to have one down here in the basement and we have ones upstairs. And number 1 son, number 2 son, fiance. I mean, we had a lot of people. Well, there were only 5, so we were under the limit of 10 in the home last night. And we were playing Banana Scrabble. And the stress that released was so huge, even though there's competition to win. But and we cleaned up everything afterwards. I've noticed people putting games out there, and I know, like us, you're washing off all the pieces when it's all done. But boy, did that relieve a lot of stress. Play games, watch fun movies, listen to great music. Those are things that can de-stress you from the outside. Love the ones you're with. You've probably had to cancel an event this weekend. Maybe it was a fantastic birthday party you were going to go to, or hanging out with friends that you really haven't seen in a long time, but you can't because of what's going on right now. And you look at the weekend going, I just had 5 days of being inside. What is this going to look like for the weekend? Love the ones you're with. And if they're not with you physically, call them, FaceTime them, email them. Call me. I mean, it's so great to reach out and hang out that way with people so that they know we're still thinking about them. And back to that premise, right? That we're not alone, even if we're frustrated. Social media is doing a bang-up job of keeping a lot of us sane because we get to relate to people and hang out and discover what's going on in your world, and you get to discover what's going on in my world. And with family, for many of us that is very, very far away, that's the only way I can do that. And I feel privileged to be able to tap into that. Use social media in a positive way. And oh, the memes that are out there, the videos, the funny stories, and even the moving, wrenching stories are ones that really can play into how I can feel better about what's going on in the weekend. You know, as isolated as you might feel, being alone with your thoughts and your intentions is actually something that can be celebrated as we move forward. Because for most of us, it's a muscle that we don't use very often. We try to get away from being alone. And there's a collectiveness right now that we're all required on some level to be alone. Even if we're with other people, we feel sort of isolated. When people come over with the, you know, whatever bumps we're doing, it does feel strange. We forget. A friend of mine said today, you know, I went somewhere and I went right to shake someone's hand and I realized, I shouldn't be doing that. We're not used to this yet because that's not who we are. We want this connection. So in the midst of the social distancing that we're being required to do, strengthen that muscle that we're getting from being alone and watch what happens. And the one thing I'd love to ask, because I'm asking it of myself and I'm going to ask it out there, is what's the one thing that you might be able to do for someone else today that will bring them joy? Think about that. Maybe it is that call. Maybe it's a FaceTime. Maybe it's a note you could send. Maybe it's a walk across. We've got a lot of snow still here. Maybe it's shoveling somebody's walk. I don't know what it is, but what is the one thing you could do for someone else today? Because that will bring them joy, and in turn, that will bring you joy. So that's why I'm here, to remind us all that we're not alone, to remind myself I'm not alone, and to continue that conversation, even if it's one way at this time. Thank you for allowing me to have a do-over, and I'm here. If you need me, you know how to reach me. Until next week. Bye.